All right, this was a reaction to Terrance Gangster Williams' video where he put up the phone call of the homie calling live from in prison about BG and his paperwork and that situation. All right, so sit back, enjoy the ride. This what it is. Welcome to the Mecca. All right. All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca audio, man. This one's on Terrance Gangster Williams' audio that he played with the dude that was BG's co-defendant. I'm going to break that down so y'all understand what went on in that, you know? And let me say this for the record. I don't bash nobody on my channel. I don't disrespect nobody on my channel. You know, I just speak the facts. You understand? Now, somebody put in the comments, right? Somebody put in the comments, so let me address this. Somebody put in the comments that, you know, I call Terrance kid, you know? That's how we talk in New York. So you little rat bastards and flip-flop being in public trolls looking for something to talk about, stop it. That was not to disrespect that man. We call each other kid, you know what I mean, in New York. That's just a terminology. That's our slang. That's not to disrespect them, and I'm saying it publicly. That was not to disrespect them. I haven't came up here and disrespected that man yet. I don't know who may have called and told them I said this and that, but no. I respect men that stand on who they are, like I respect an animal for standing who they are. If you get a sheep that try and run with a bunch of wolves, and then something happened, and then that sheep do what a sheep do, you know what I mean? That's nature. But then when the wolf mauls the sheep, you can't feel sorry for the sheep because the sheep should have stayed in this lane. Do y'all understand that metaphor? You know? So for the record, you know, because I talked to my man J Rock, and he said that he felt Terrance Gangster Williams said that I disrespected him in a video. I don't even mention his name in the video. Right now, I'm mentioning his name because he gets the props for breaking this story that I'm breaking down to the youth and the elders so they understand what time it is to stay out the streets. And I'm going to say this. When somebody bring you a message, you ask yourself, what's that person's motive? The messenger's motive, not the message they're bringing. The message is irrelevant. The first thing we worry about is the motive of the message bringer. So when somebody come to you and tell you something about John Doe, Kenny Boo, Susie Who, you know, the first thing you say is, why are they telling me this? What reaction do they want from this? You see the jewels I give you? That's why my Cash App is on the screen. That's why I mentioned my Cash App, because I give you all jewels that you could use for a lifetime that's priceless. Now, let me get into this story. The way this thing is, you got 3 dudes driving the car. BG in the driver's seat, dude in the back seat, you know, they riding, they got weed in the car. Dude in the back seat saying he didn't know the weed was in the car, but he had a gun on him. The police tried to pull him over. When they went to pull him over, dude in the back seat with the gun said, man, let me out, let me out, let me run. Y'all ain't got nothing in here. Let me run, let me get away, let me do me. You know what I mean? And BG didn't pull over from what the dude said from the video. I'm just quoting the video. I'm not speaking facts on what happened because I wasn't there. I'm just speaking dude's point to clarify it for you. That's all I'm doing. This is not to bash BG. This is not to call BG a rat. This is not to do none of that. This is for y'all to decide after I break this down if you feel BG is a rat or not. Now, so let me say that for the record. I don't come on here and bash nobody, and I definitely don't put no bone like a rat on nobody. You know what I mean? That's not what Unique Mecca audio is about. You know, because a lot of people think that because, you know, always hit my gunshots at the rat bastards and flip-flop wearing and public trolls, you know. If a person ratted and claimed what he did, now I know who he is. That's like a sheep coming forward and saying, I'm a sheep, but I want to run with you wolves. It's our choice to allow the sheep to run with us. If we allow the sheep to run with us and then something happened and the sheep rolls over and do what the sheep do, you can't get mad at the sheep. You must get mad at yourself for allowing the sheep in your circle. You see these jewels? Cash App on the screen again. So go ahead, call me Reverend Knight. But these jewels is priceless. Now, while they riding, dude telling BG, pull over, pull over. BG didn't pull over from what dude said, but BG pulled over the middle of the highway where there was no way to run. The police came, they seen him fidgeting in the back trying to jump out the car on the highway, you know? So they go right to him. They find a gun. It's his gun. As a man, he said, I'm claiming that. That's mine. From the door, you know? But he wanted to run. BG didn't want to let him out the car in a secluded area for him to run. That's called jumping out. You know what I mean? So when they pull up on him, BG, from what the dude said, was whining and complaining in the car. Don't know if it's true, just reporting what was said. Now, by him doing that, you know, dude said, man, fall back. So now the dude is like between a rock and a hard place. Damn, it's my gun. They didn't know the gun was in the car, so I got to claim the gun. So they go down there. But before they go down there, he told them, put BG in the car with me, man, so I could calm him down. So they put BG in the car with him, and he talking to him. So BG said, man, go ahead, claim that. This is what the dude said. Said, claim that. You claim the gun. And once you claim the gun, I'm going to take care of your family. You know, me and your mama cool, me and the family cool. I'm going to hold your family down, but, you know, I'm on the rise. I don't need to go down right now. It's your gun. Go ahead and claim it. So when they go down to the police station, there's also a lot of weed in the car. At the time, that was labeled as drugs. A lot of drugs was in the car. So now the dude is saying that he didn't know the drugs was in the car. So they blindsided him with that. He went to claim his gun charge, but there's weed in the car. So whoever the weed belonged to, do you think they should have claimed that weed, being that the young man in the back that had the gun that's claiming what's his didn't know the weed was there? That's the question. Put it in the comments. So then now, the dude gets, you know, they let BG and them go because the dude claimed the gun and, you know, the weed that was in the car because BG said he was going to look out for him. So now once the dude does that, right, BG and them is gone. They take the dude and feds come, they take him in another room and they let him know we charge you with a federal charge. You sure you want to claim it? Because they know that, you know, he didn't grow the weed himself, so he got it from somebody. So they wanted to get the, you know, the big boy that supplied him with the weed to use the little man at the bottom with the gun, driving the weed down the road to tell on the big man. That way they could prevent other big weight from going up the highway and on the street. So now that's where we at. So they send dude over there to the federal holdup. When he get to the federal holdup and he start talking to a few men in the place, the men in the place told him straight up, yo, you could beat that. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't find a gun on you, whatever. You could beat that. So now the dude decides he wants to fight. So he's fighting the case. So while he's sitting here fighting the case and he going back and forth, he found that dudes in the jail told him, man, you got to put ineffective assistance of counsel, that the lawyer made you take the plea because he already took the plea, signed the plea and everything. So he said, you could beat that, but you got to get the lawyer off the case. So he filed what they call ineffective assistance of counsel to take his guilty plea back. They took his guilty plea back, but dude was already out. BG and the other dude was already out when he takes his plea back. So they in the clear. They didn't even get charged because they just charged them. You know, if I'm wrong, y'all put in the comments. This the way it sounds from what the young man is saying. We're going to hear part 2 from Gangsta Williams later, so tune in to Terrance Gangsta Williams' channel. That's who broke this story, and you know, he must get his props for that, you know? So now, Terrance Gangsta Williams broke this story. Very interesting story because it's a good teaching point for the youth and the elders that think they're doing something out there. that we're telling them not to do. So we're not promoting selling drugs, weed, carrying guns, or none of that. So now when Terrance Gangsta Williams breaks this story, I'm listening to it because I find it interesting. I must give him his props for that story. You know what I mean? I give props where it's due because, like I said, I don't hate on nobody. I don't do none of that. And Terrance Gangsta Williams already told y'all openly what he did, so you know who he is. You know what I mean? And he stand on who he is. So you must respect that. Now, you don't have to agree with that. You know what I mean? And you don't have to agree with him telling, because I don't agree with him telling. You know what I mean? But I respect the fact that he said, this is who I am, period. So if you rat bastards want to pick it all, saying I respect Terrance Gangsta Williams, no, I respect that he stand on who he is, period. If somebody tell you, I'm a child molester, then and that's not equating Terrance with that. But if somebody tell you I'm a child molester, I'm a raper, you know what I mean? You know who they are. Now you have the choice to stay away from them if you're not into that. You understand what I'm saying? But you know who they are. So when someone tell you who they are, believe them. And it's not up to you to judge them. Only God could judge them, Now, so dude files ineffective assistance of counsel. When he files ineffective assistance of counsel, he had to say that the lawyer made him say that, So he's thinking he could beat it, he could go to trial because they already let BG and them out of jail, But what, he didn't know from what he's saying is that BG and them went and testified about it. So being that he took his guilty plea back, 9 times out of 10, just reporting the facts the way it go, being that he took his guilty plea back, someone had to go to grand jury, and only person could get him for that gun is not the police, because the police said where they found it, and they felt he could have beat it where they found it, or to stop the search or whatever, because that's the main thing that you use when they get you for a traffic violation is the Fourth Amendment, right, to search and seizure, So now we have that. Y'all paying attention? I'm trying to slow it down so y'all could understand. I don't want to talk fast on this video. So now we have BG and the other dude that they let go. The brother, I think his name is Washington, the one that's locked up for the gun and the weed. He thinking that he could fight it, he could beat it, but then he's saying that BG and them went and testified, and that must be the grand jury. You know what I mean? So BG and them went to the grand jury and testified that it was his gun, this and that, because the dude agreed to take the charge for BG to look out for him. But then the dude figured out he could beat the charge, so he decides to fight the charge. So now, being that the dude done gave his word he's gonna take the charge, even though he didn't know the weed was in the car, so that might make a difference to y'all, and it should. That's why I'm bringing it out. But he winds up claiming everything. He takes the weed in the car. Now, BG and them come and, allegedly testify on this dude. Do you think that BG is wrong for going to the grand jury and testifying that the gun and the drugs was dude's, even though, the dude is now fighting the case, but the dude did agree to take the case? So that's where you have to decide if you feel BG is right or not. I'm not going to interject in that because, like I said, I don't put bones on anybody, and I don't know this man. I don't know the whole case, and I haven't saw the paperwork. If anybody want me to really weigh in on it, send me all the paperwork. I will stop and read it because I did a number of legal cases over my 26 years in federal prison, and I've read plenty of PSI and sentences report to see if a person was a rat bastard or not, or if they should be airlifted from the prison. Now, so that's how that goes. So that's where you have to put in the comments what's your opinion. Y'all talk about it amongst yourself. I would respond back to your comments the same way I responded back that someone said that, I was bashing Terrance Gangsta Williams because I called him kid. Yo, I call my homies kid. My homies called me kid. I'm 60 in May. My homies call me kid, and they're not bashing me. So you little rat bastards that look for something to say, stop it, man. Stop it. I stay in my lane and I mind my business. But when it come to the street code and the youth, I have to give it to y'all because it's so blurred on YouTube that I'm giving it to you from experience. Now, let me ride. Relax. I had the same situation. I'm riding in the car with a young man. I just paid to connect about 100,000. I'm more happy first time, paying him his 100,000. So I take my 9mm and I shoot it out the window. Book, 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 book. Because that's what we do as Jamaicans. Man, I shoot out the window, right? When I get in a cab, a gypsy cab. So the cab pulls off. Now, as we drive in the cab speeding, then we get pulled over. When we get pulled over, the gun is found in the car. When the gun is found in the car, I told him, my man already know. I told him straight up. I said, Joe, we're going to fight this. You know what I mean? Because if something is in the car, that means the passenger before could have left in the car. That's why we took cabs back in the day, so you understand. If we're in a cab in New York and there's 10 keys in there or 10 guns in the car, you could always fight it saying that it wasn't mine. The previous passenger must have left it in it because so many people come in and out, so it have to be in your possession. So now they turn around, they find the gun. Me and my man go down to the station. They offered me 5 to 15. They offered my man a year where he got to do 8 months. I was on a rise, just sold my first little, 10 keys, bought my man his little 100,000 because I was getting them for 10 apiece, selling them for 15 to 17. So now, here we go. We in the joint, and my man said, yo, I'm going to claim it because, you on the rise and we need to spare you. Me as a man told him no. Don't do it as yet. I want you to really think about if you want to claim this gun for me, because this is my gun. And I don't want you to go down for me. I'm not telling you to go down for me. He said, nah, as long as you look out for my family, the same thing this man said, 'cause that's what gangsters on the street do, So I said, nah. So we leave, and they gave us another court date to come back a week later. When we went back a week later, you understand? I stayed away from him for the whole week because I didn't want to go pick him up and hang out with him every day, 24 hours like I normally do, because I didn't want it to be like I'm trying to sweet talk him into taking this charge, because I never asked him to take the charge. He volunteered to take the charge. Me and his mama talked, and he spent time with his moms and all that. Then that Friday, we go to court. When we went to court, by the time I walk in the courtroom, I see them putting my man in handcuffs and walking him out the courtroom. And my lawyer walked up to me and said, your man claimed the gun, so you're free to go. I said, what? You know what I mean? I wasn't even here. He said, nah, he came in early and he took the gun. And I give him all the props in the world, because that's what we do as men. As men. So now I leave and I go back and I go see his mother. When I go see his mother, as soon as I walk in the room and I see a ton of tears came down. First time I ever remembered really crying, and I cried so hard because I got to tell my man's moms that he's going to be gone for a year. His mom grabbed me, gave me a hug, pushed me back, grabbed me by the chin and looked me in my eyes and said, yo, we talked about it all week. Unique, you on the rise. Keep doing what you're doing. Just look out for us and look out for him while he in there. And, everything is going to be good. We can't allow you to go down right now. And I'm sitting there crying, but his mother was a gangster like that. She was like, yo, if you go to jail, we lose everything. And you've been taking care of us in the neighborhood. But if he goes to jail, you know what I mean? You can still rise, take care of me in the neighborhood, and take care of him while he's in jail, and he'll be out in 8 months. So he went in. I went and put a phone in his mother's house where I was paying $3,000 a month for this man to call. And that was a lot of money back then. He was calling collect. The man will call collect 24 hours. When he called, he'll put other people on the phone to make three ways, and you know what I mean? And then he introduced somebody to his mom's that was on his phone, the other half. So the phone bill kept going up and going up and going up, but I never complained. I paid the bill, and every Saturday I picked his mother up, took her down to Canal Street, and I bought mad food for the house. She even wanted a hobby, so I bought her a big bird cage and about 20 parakeets. You know what I mean? Furnished the house, did everything they needed while he was gone. I honored my word. But what this young man is saying in BG case is that he didn't honor his word, from what I'm understanding. If I'm wrong, you let me know. But that's how that play out. So that's why I could tell these stories. So if you see something, you know, on YouTube and the media or wherever, send me the link, not a screenshot. Send me the link and I'll speak on it and make clarification for it for you, like I'm clarifying this BG video. Now, so that's where we at. So dude fighting the interference of citizen council, he said that BG came in and the other dude and testified against him. But at the same time, he did say he'll claim the gun and the drugs. You know, but was BG wrong for getting on the stand? That's for y'all to tell me. You know, I already know the answer. But it's like, you know, when I weigh in, they try and, you know, mix it up that I'm this and that. No, y'all deal with that. Because whether BG told or not, how they say, it's no skin off my apple. I don't have the energy to worry about what BG did or what anyone else did. I just have the energy to prevent those from doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Now, what was BG's purpose for getting on the stand? That's another question for y'all. You know, just to give y'all talking points. You know what I mean? No, for y'all to understand, you can't skip a grand jury because you have to be indicted, you know, by a jury of your peer. And that's a grand jury. Now, the grand jury is rigged because when they have a grand jury, the person who they're trying to indict to put in jail for the rest of his life or 5 years or 10 years is not allowed to be in that grand jury. His lawyer's not allowed to be there. It's just the prosecutor, the police, and all the evidence against him, but nobody to defend him to the grand jury. That's the way a grand jury works. That's why Donald Trump said that you know, he don't respect the justice system, you know, allegedly. That's where that came from, just so you understand. Now, put in the comments, what are some things that mean instead of making of assumption? I don't know what that is. Somebody text that to me, one of the comments. They got to clarify that a little better. But, you know, that's where we at. So we got BG allegedly went to the grand jury on this young man after the young man said that he was going to claim the charge. He went to the federal jail. And then the guys in the feds told him that you could beat the charge. You know, they already let them go. So there's nothing they could do. But let me ride again. I'm going to ride. I'm going to give you a prison story, you know, because you see the bars in the back. I was locked up in the feds. I'm in Atwater. I'm drinking some White Lightning. We all got messed up. Plenty of White Lightning on the compound that day. So I'm drinking the White Lightning, and I go in the cell, and I'm pissy drunk. You know what I mean? It's 4 o'clock count, so they get ready to close the door. I don't get drunk like that with the doors open. So now I'm in there. I drank the last of the White Lightning. I had a little bit left like this. And I had it, normally would keep it in like a Tabasco jar. So it just looks like water, like I'm washing out the jar. But for some stupid reason, because we all make stupid mistakes, I take it and I poured it in a white fiber bottle, and I had it next to my locker. Now, so much people was drinking that day that they went around breathalyzing and then started searching the cells, and, you know, one at a time before they even opened up after 4 o'clock count. When they came in my cell, I'm laying down, they go over there and they find the wine. Now, they find the wine and they lock me and my cellie up for the wine. It's my wine. I got to claim it. My cellie was crying like a biatch. I'm going to keep it 100. But I had to calm him down because it's my wine. So I said, look, man, I could beat this because I'm the head orderly. So many people come in and out the cell. I could say anybody put it in there and they could look on the camera and see people coming in to get, you know, the broom, the mop, you know what I mean, the disinfectant. I was running the store in the prison. They could see them get in the store. So I know I could beat this. And we both was getting ready to be in for a transfer to a medium. So he's telling me, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I said, all right. So I just like dude told BG, I said, all right, come on. We're going to get a cell together when we go back there. Because he had to wait until after we go to, DHO to get out of the charge anyway. So we go back there and we sell it. So while we back there, I see a lieutenant, and Atwater wasn't tripping on wine, knives, none of that at this time. But this was right after the officer got bodied, right? So now they was tight on everything. So I'm not gonna say the lieutenant's name, but the lieutenant came, he pulled me and my man out the cell, and he said, yo, Unique, you don't bother nobody. I looked on the thing, I see you ain't had a shot in a minute. You know, you and your cellie both in to go to a FCI. He said, man, I'm handling the shot. You get somebody back here. He said, if someone back here claims the shot, I'll throw the shot out on y'all. So the next day I go to rec. When I go to rec, I holler at my man, in the rec yard that got locked up the same night as me because he was drunk in the cell. They blew him and he blew, that he was drunk. But, I did the old peanut butter trick. We used to take peanut butter, take a spoon of peanut butter, put it in our mouth. So when we blow the breathalyzer and you blow, the peanut butter would absorb the alcohol and just the fresh air would go out. So I beat it. My man was too drunk to use the peanut butter trick. So you see the game I gave you, Cash App on the screen. Let's not forget that. Now, make sure you hit the logo and it says it was created in 2020, not 2023. So then now we sitting there and my man is in the hole. So I tell my man, yo, dog, me and my homie in for FCI. What it's going to cost me? Da-da-da-da. He said, man, just give me $500. I'm going to claim it. I'm already done on this. I ain't going to no FCI. I got 1 million shots. So, give me 500, So I said, bet. So my man sends a note to the lieutenant's office and said that that was his wine that was found in that cell, that he was over there drinking that day. And luckily he was in my unit drinking that day. He wasn't even in my unit. He across the compound. But they ran the camera back and seen him, walking from my unit to his unit, and he did come down to my cell to come check me, see if I had any wine. So he told them that he left the wine in the cell when they, called recall, because he had nowhere to put it, didn't want to walk around the compound, and being that everybody go in my cell to go get supplies anyway, he went in there and put the fiber bottle in the corner. So they let me and my man go. So now they let me and my man go. I come out and I pays, he told me who to get the money to. I gave it to his man. They was from Tennessee, but he was cool with a dude from West Virginia. So I give the money, the $500 to his man from West Virginia. And then the lieutenant pulls up on me, about 3 days later. He come to me, he said, man, I done let you out and looked out for you. Your man said he was going to claim that. He didn't claim it. You know what I mean? He's saying it wasn't his. I said, what? That man don't play like that. He said, yeah, you making me look bad because they already let you and your man out. And then lieutenant told me straight up, they already let y'all out. Y'all didn't get charged. They ripped up your shot when he claimed it. I ripped up the shot. So I can't bring you and your man back there. You understand what I'm saying? He said, so I need your man to claim that so I can keep my face, because otherwise it'll look like I messed up on the investigation and let your man double cross me, So they take me back there to the shoe. They bring my man down, to the holding tank, and I'm talking to him at the bars. Lieutenant step outside, me and him talking, right? So I said, dog, what happened? You gave me a word you're going to take that. I gave your man the 500. He said, yo, I'm just messing with you, man. I just giving him a hard time. You know what I mean? He said, because I don't like the DHO. He was talking cocky to me. So I just told him now it wasn't mine. You know what I mean? That I don't know what they talking about. You know what I mean? So he said, I'm a plea bargain with him and tell him just don't take no good time, because he had a sentence with a date. He said, I'm just doing this to bluff him. He said, but you ain't got to worry about it. I'm going to claim it. You know what I mean? I ain't going to make, the lieutenant look bad or your word look bad on the lieutenant, or my word. He said, but I just had to mess with the THO. But moral of the story is, being that they let us out, they couldn't pick us up and bring us back in because they already charged him and dismissed our charge. So that's the same thing that would have happened with BG and them. You understand? Only way they could have did that is to bring them back, to take them to grand jury. And if none of them wouldn't have said nothing, you know, it would have just been the word of the police where he found the gun, this and that, and then dude would have had a chance to beat it, but then they would have been, you know, put back in custody and had to get bail and whatever. So that's what happened with that. So I just like to blend these stories in so y'all understand. So y'all put in the comments what y'all think. And again, for the record, you know, you rat bastards, stop it. When I call someone a kid, that's just my New York slang. It's no disrespect to anyone. Just like in Virginia, they call them a stick man. So what if I say, yo, I ain't no stick man. You better call me a stick. What are you saying? I'm a coward? Because I'm small, you're calling me skinny? We don't get into that because we understand that they have their lingo and we know that it's not a disrespect. So please, stop it. Make sure you cop the book, A Roar in Harlem. You want to know my life story. It was edited by Cavario H. You know what I mean? My man, you know? The book is fire. Everybody take out 4.5 stars on Amazon. You could also get the book at roaringharlem.com. I prefer you get it there because I get all the money from that. And then, of course, we got the shirts that we need to give to the dudes that don't really know the rules. You know what I mean? This the merchandise. Look at the link in the bottom of my video joint and cop your Shut the F Up shirt. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. So I'm about to tap out. Make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to this video if you haven't to this channel, and hit the notification bell. That's all I ask. That's not asking too much, is it? All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
What?
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spin a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the root men.